Have you ever felt that something was off, but couldn't quite explain what? Ever left a conversation feeling exhausted, even though nothing dramatic happened? You were kind, generous, even patient, and yet you walked away feeling drained, insecure, or lost. The worst part, you keep returning to the same interactions, pretending not to notice the damage being done. But what if I told you this isn't random? What if it's a sign? There are people around you who wear masks of support but harbor hidden resentment. They can't stand your light, so they work quietly and cleverly to dim it. And they know exactly what they're doing. You, on the other hand, are so committed to peacekeeping and emotional maturity that you miss the subtle poison dripping from their sweet words. That's why these relationships repeat, because a part of you still refuses to see the truth. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's loneliness, maybe it's that deep, unconscious belief that love must be earned through suffering. But it's time to stop rationalizing cruelty wrapped in concern. It's time to stop accepting emotional scraps just to avoid solitude. This message isn't for those who want to stay comfortable. It's for those ready to awaken. This is for the person who suspects betrayal but lacks the courage to face it. For the one who feels drained by those who claim to care. You're not imagining things. You're not too sensitive. You're waking up. The greatest threats often come disguised, not with shouting or scandal, but in whispers, in passive-aggressive praise, in the supportive smile laced with envy, in the hug-hiding silent competition. Carl Jung called this projection when people cast their shadow, their envy, insecurity, and anger onto others because they can't face it themselves. These people will never attack you directly. They don't need to. Instead, they'll mock your growth under the guise of humor. They'll remind you that you've changed, not to celebrate you, but to shame you. They'll support you until your light shines too brightly, and then they'll dim it with doubt. And because you trust them, you'll question yourself. You'll wonder if you're overreacting. But you're not. You see it. You just don't want to accept it. Because if you do, you'll have to face the hardest truth of all. The people draining you are the ones you once counted on. Worse yet, they'll flip the script when you try to leave. Suddenly, you're the cold one, the distant one, the ungrateful one. But this isn't love, it's emotional control. It's manipulation masked as concern. Why do you allow it? Because deep down, some part of you is still wired to accept pain as proof of connection. And that's what we'll explore next. What does this cycle say about you? Why do you attract these people? And why do you keep them close? You see, it's easy to label others as toxic. But Jung reminds us that what we hate in others often reflects something we haven't faced in ourselves. These draining relationships don't just reveal their true colors. They reflect your inner wounds. Maybe you were raised to believe that love means sacrificing yourself, that being good means being silent, that your worth is tied to how much you give. So now you accept relationships that mirror that script. You attract people who need you to be small. These relationships show where you still struggle to set boundaries, where you fear disapproval, where guilt controls your decisions. And until you see this clearly, you'll keep mistaking emotional imprisonment for loyalty. Jung said that meeting the true self is the one thing people try to avoid their whole lives. That's why you stay. Because if you focus on their toxicity, you don't have to look at your own pain. But here's the truth. These relationships won't change. They exist to push you to change. The manipulation stops the moment you stop tolerating it. But first, you must count the cost of staying. Emotional draining is subtle. It creeps in through casual remarks, quiet judgment, and unspoken expectations. Over time, you start to doubt your decisions, censor your voice, shrink your presence. Until one day, you feel hollow, exhausted, anxious, numb. You think you're weak, you think you're broken, but you're not. You're under attack, an invisible attack on your spirit. And no matter how much you try to understand or justify it, your body and soul feel the truth. Jung spoke of energy exchanges in human relationships. When you connect with someone full of repression, envy, or control, their energy seeps into yours, and it wears you down. Still, most people ignore the signs. They smile through the pain. They stay silent to avoid conflict. But it takes courage to face what's really happening, courage to say enough. That courage is what we'll discuss next. Because once you see the pattern, the question becomes, what will you do with the truth? Recognizing emotional sabotage is only the beginning. The real challenge lies in acting on it, especially when the saboteur is someone close, someone you love, someone who's helped you before. But you must remember, past kindness does not excuse present harms. You can't change a toxic relationship by understanding it. You change it by stepping away, by reclaiming your space, by protecting your energy. Jung said, you don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. That means setting boundaries, saying no, and being prepared for backlash. Because when you reclaim your power, those who depended on your weakness will fight back. Will you give in to guilt or stand firm in your truth? Will you shrink again or protect your soul? Leaving will hurt, but staying hurts more. And once you decide to break the cycle, you must follow through. That's what we'll explore next. How to break free with strength, not guilt. How to rise without retaliation. Because this is about self-love, not revenge. About choosing truth over comfort, freedom over familiarity. If this speaks to you, my ebook, Beyond the Shadow, is your next step. It brings Jung's insights into practical tools for emotional freedom. The link is in the pinned comment. You don't owe your energy to those who drain it. Loyalty isn't submission. Love isn't sacrifice. Maturity isn't enduring what breaks you. You heal the moment you stop betraying yourself. And sometimes that begins with silence, with distance, with the courage to walk away. And when you do, everything changes. Stay with me, because your journey isn't over. It's just beginning. Subscribe, share, comment your story. Let's turn this space into a community of awakening. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are just finally ready to see. And that is the beginning of freedom.